Star Trek Section 31 movie is the perfect way to bring back Discovery's best villain. Star Trek has always thrived on reinvention. From the original series' utopian optimism to Deep Space Nine's morally gray war stories, and from Voyager's long road home to Discovery's universe-spanning reinventions, the franchise constantly redefines itself while honoring its past. Now, with the upcoming Section 31 movie set to focus on Michelle Yeoh's Emperor Philippa Georgiou, Star Trek is primed to blend espionage intrigue with its trademark exploration of morality. But there's another opportunity hidden within this project, one that could elevate the film beyond a character study of Georgiou. The Section 31 movie is the perfect vehicle to resurrect Discovery's best villain, Gabriel Lorca. Jason Isaacs' morally ambiguous, mirror universe imposter left a mark so deep on the franchise that fans have speculated about his return for years. And now, the pieces are all in place for Lorca to step back into the shadows, this time as Georgiou's greatest rival. Discovery's best villain disappeared too soon. When Star Trek Discovery first premiered, Captain Gabriel Lorca appeared to be a gruff, battle-hardened leader of the USS Discovery. Unlike Starfleet captains before him, he was unapologetically militaristic, willing to bend rules and sacrifice ideals if it meant securing victory. At first glance, he seemed like a wartime Kirk filtered through DS9 Sisko, a man ready to do what was necessary in the face of Klingon aggression. Then came the twist. Lorca wasn't the real Starfleet captain at all. He was a refugee from the Terran Empire of the Mirror Universe, masquerading as his prime counterpart while manipulating Michael Burnham and the crew to help him return home. Isaacs delivered the reveal with such charisma that his villainous turn felt electric, and for a time, Lorca embodied the perfect Star Trek antagonist, one who forced the heroes to confront the fine line between pragmatism and tyranny. Yet, Lorca's story ended abruptly. He was killed in the Mirror Universe during Season 1's climax, toppled by Georgiou in a blaze of phaser fire and Imperial betrayal. Fans never got to see what might have happened if Lorca had lingered, if his cunning and ruthlessness had been pitted against Starfleet on a larger scale. In many ways, Lorca felt like an unfinished chapter, a character whose potential stretched beyond Discovery's debut season. That's why the Section 31 movie provides the ideal stage for his return. Georgiou's movie needs a villain worthy of her. The announcement that Michelle Yeoh would headline a Section 31 film thrilled Trek fans worldwide. Yeoh, fresh off her Oscar-winning performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once, brings unmatched gravitas to the role of Emperor Philippa Georgiou, the former Terran despot who became a reluctant ally of Starfleet. But as compelling as Georgiou is on her own, no story about her can reach its full potential without an adversary who challenges her unique blend of ruthless pragmatism and hard-earned moral evolution. Star Trek villains succeed when they mirror or distort the values of the hero. Think Khan's obsession with Kirk, Ducat's ideological duel with Sisko, or the Borg Queen's temptation of individuality versus assimilation. For Georgiou, no villain embodies that mirror better than Lorca. In Discovery, the two already shared a twisted history. Georgiou ruled the Terran Empire, while Lorca plotted to usurp her throne. Their conflict was as personal as it was political, filled with betrayal, seduction, and the hunger for power. Bringing them back together in the Section 31 movie would be more than a nostalgic callback. It would be a continuation of unfinished business. Who better to challenge Georgiou's attempt at redemption than the man who wants to find her as both rival and betrayer? Section 31 and Lorca, a match made in shadows. Section 31, the secretive intelligence arm of Starfleet, operates in the moral gray zone where ideals give way to necessity. It's a place where ends often justify means, where questionable alliances are forged, and where the line between hero and villain is constantly blurred. That description might as well be Gabriel Lorca's resume. Imagine a scenario where Section 31 learns that Lorca, presumed dead in the Mirror Universe, actually survived, crossing into the Prime Timeline. His skills as a tactician, his ruthless pragmatism, and his intimate knowledge of both universes would make him a valuable asset. Or a dangerous liability. The organization might try to recruit him, only to find that Lorca has his own agenda, one that could jeopardize Starfleet itself. now place Georgiou at the heart of this story. A former tyrant herself, working reluctantly under Section 31, Georgiou would recognize Lorca's manipulations better than anyone. The film practically writes itself as a chess match between two ex-Terran power players, each trying to outwit the other in a galaxy that no longer tolerates their brand of empire building. Jason Isaacs wants back in. One of the most tantalizing elements of this possibility is that Jason Isaacs himself has expressed interest in returning to Star Trek. In interviews, he's hinted that the right story could tempt him back into Lorca's boots. With Yo's star power and the cinematic scope of the Section 31 project, the time has never been better. Isaacs' Lorca is a fan favorite precisely because he wasn't a cartoonish villain. He wasn't evil for evil's sake, he was a survivor, a strategist, a man who believed the ends justified the means. In Section 31's morally murky world, Lorca could thrive. He could even force audiences to question whether his perspective is truly wrong, especially when pitted against Georgiou, whose redemption arc often veered into shades of gray herself. The chemistry between Yo and Isaacs was magnetic in Discovery. Watching them reunite on the big screen, this time as ideological sparring partners rather than monarch and usurper, would elevate the Section 31 movie from a spin-off curiosity to a centerpiece of modern Trek storytelling. The narrative potential of Lorca's return, bringing Lorca back, isn't just about fan service. It's about narrative symmetry. Discovery's first season ended with Georgiou escaping her empire and Lorca perishing in his quest for domination. The Section 31 film could flip that dynamic, Georgiou seeking redemption within a secretive, morally ambiguous organization, while Lorca resurfaces to remind her of the tyrant she once was. Here are just a few directions such a story could take. A spy thriller duel. Georgiou is tasked by Section 31 to stop a destabilizing force in the galaxy, only to discover it's Lorca pulling the strings. What follows is a deadly game of espionage and counter-espionage. Mirror reflections. Lorca could claim he's not the same tyrant she remembers. Perhaps this Lorca is the prime version, hardened by war and disillusionment. Is he truly better than the man Georgiou killed, or is this another deception? Redemption versus power. Georgiou's struggle has always been whether she can truly shed her Terran instincts. Lorca's reappearance could tempt her back toward conquest, forcing her to confront who she really wants to be. A Starfleet reckoning. Section 31 itself might see Lorca as a useful tool, even as Georgiou warns of his treachery. The clash between the agency's pragmatism and Georgiou's newfound morality could drive the central conflict. Each of these threads ties directly into Star Trek's central ethos, the tension between idealism and reality, between who we aspire to be and the darker impulses we must overcome. Why this matters for Star Trek's future. The modern Star Trek era, from Discovery to Picard to Strange New Worlds, has thrived on blending nostalgia with rain,